Just listen to this. You've been doing this for 2 years. I have talked about this phenomenon before, where you have your immediate surroundings that you live in. And those surroundings might be, for example, the town or whatever it is, where you live. I can, on an intellectual level, remember, yeah, I used to go to that school. But for some reason, it feels very fucking detached. Like that wasn't even me. Instead, here I am, at home. Somebody wiser than me should invent a word for it. When you lose your history, where you have always lived, and become like numb to the environment, so to say, it's just there. There also should be a study if going to a new environment, going to a vacation, is it really any good? Does it really change you, or does it really change your brain in some way when you see stuff that you don't normally see? Somebody says to you, hey man, you've been doing this for 2 years. You've been doing this same stuff for 2 years. And go like, yeah, that's right. I've been doing it for past 2 years. 2 years you've been doing this. And then you go back to what you used to do 3 or 4 years ago. And the fans go, oh, he changed. No, I didn't invent anything new. I just went back to how I was in my past, sitting on their ass in front of my computer. Yeah. Believe me, even though now I have this sexy stubble of a beard that will get me all the pussy in the world, I used to be a young boy at some point, and this logo, the ROG, Republic of Gamers logo, came to represent my addiction to World of Warcraft at some point. And, video games were kind of this way that I tuned out because my parents got divorced. And so if you think about where does my, this insane self-discipline come from, it's more probably from my mother's side. How could I explain this? Well, I used to be quite a bit depressed. My life over here on the computer screen, I used to watch a lot of depression-related videos, and there's this one dude from Australia called The Silence Within Me, talking about social anxiety and this type of stuff. What I feel from that social anxiety nowadays is that if I have something in my calendar, so to say, that this is going to happen in the future, you will have to go through this social encounter and this kind of stuff. It's very kind of afraid about it, beforehand. I'm the type of person that really cannot have too much in the future of me. I like to live in the past. I spend a lot of my time on there. I just lie on there. I think about stuff. I visualize stuff. I listen to audiobooks. And I sleep on the fucking couch. And man, it gets fucking depressing some points to do that. About that social anxiety. From my own experience, I can say that at this point I have had to turn my socializing really down. It's just safer to not get involved with new people. And I have realized that it doesn't really matter even what's the circumstance. It doesn't really matter. Dangerous people are dangerous even though you meet them at the fucking church. So I realized that for my own safety, I have to say no to human beings. Not like in real life and also online. I don't really like to socialize online. I don't reply to comments. I don't want to get involved with people, that I don't even know. So yeah, colors. I really like the colors in World of Warcraft. What really got me in that game was just the colorfulness of the world and the variety, the art style of it. I've said this to you before, depression is lack of expression, but depression is also suppression. It's suppression done by you yourself, but it's also suppression done by others to you. It's kind of big oil, sports car type of deserts and skyscrapers type of setting. Palaces, just that kind of stuff. I have a lot of this that I get in my mind's eye, my third eye, these visions. When I lie on the couch, for example, one day I saw this stormy sea. I was probably in that vision at some place like it was probably an oil drilling site, on the seas. I also saw this in my third eye, this guy, very tall building and about to jump from the tall building, like kill himself. But then he backed off, and I would say that was probably somewhere in Asia. I see this stuff in my mind's eye and my third eye when I just lie down. I'm very attuned, and I have asked myself this question many times: is there any way out of this? What I have discovered is that there's probably a way out of this, and it's looking within. Yesterday I had a very fucking weird dream. I went to a home that I have never visited, where I live. This kind of an older building. And there they had these old dial phones. I wonder if somebody really here collects dial phones. If somebody really has a collection of dial phones. And I could find that person. And if I could really see his collection of dial phones and it would look the same, we could say that this guy, me, has some, psychic abilities, that would be like remote viewing. Depression, it can also be a sign that your third eye or your mind's visionary capabilities have been suppressed down really a lot due to all kinds of variables are there. I have done my own science almost on this, and I have realized water, food, air, everything you put into your body, everything has an effect on the third eye. And I would say that depression is also a symptom of that third eye being really closed. You cannot see shit there. And if you open up to the astral vision, the depression is going to just vanish because you are going to be so engaged. When you achieve astral vision, third eye vision, you're going to be so engaged with that. You will never be depressed. And also question, can you be depressed when you are in a dream? No, you are never depressed in a dream. Depression is a waking consciousness experience. It doesn't happen in a dream. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm so interested in those dreams. But dreams, they happen to each one of us. And we can only see them for ourselves. If there's something that only you see, nobody else can see it, if there's something that only you like, but nobody else likes that stuff, if you deem it unimportant because nobody else likes it, you might do a disservice to yourself because of that. And you might end up just double the more depressed because you did that.